Welcome to another episode of the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing. This week, the Chief Secretary Kelvin Charles addresses the media.
The holiday repair program began on July 23, 2018. And you know this program extends to the primary and secondary schools in Tobago. So there were 83 construction packages and 51 contractors were engaged to prepare these schools. As I speak to you, 12% of the schools are already completed. And by August 10th, the estimate is that 40% of the schools and the packages will have been completed. And certainly we are hoping that by the last week of August, 100% of the schools will be completed, as was the case last year. The Scarborough Roman Catholic School will be formally commissioned and opened towards the end of this month. I'm happy to advise that the school was completed within the allocated time and budget. Construction was supposed to have taken place within a planned time frame of 18 months. The original project cost was $85 million, and to date we have expended $83 million or thereabout, and this payment includes consultancy, construction fees, and variations. So we are in fact looking at a small surplus when all the bills would have come in. So I need to remind you that this is a growing trend where construction projects are coming in within budget, even if they're not coming in within planned construction time, as was the Lambo Bridge. Now, for those of you who have been in that area, you would have recognized that we have embarked on the construction of a connector road from Smithfield Trace to the Montgomery Road. Construction is going apace because we propose, all things being equal and the weather permitting, to have this road ready in time for the reopening of school. Now you would appreciate the importance of this connector road, because if we leave the situation as it is, then there'll be bottleneck traffic at that school and on that road. Now, as you know, there are 4 primary schools that are undergoing some levels of expansion. Most of them, in fact, all of them are close to completion. The last report I got from UDCOT, which is the project manager, is that they are 98% in 2 instances and 99% in 2 instances. In the main, we are awaiting the supply of electricity. And I have been assured, because I had a conversation with the chairman of UDCOT only yesterday afternoon, that by next week, those matters should be finalized. It means, therefore, that these additional spaces will be made available for the new school term. As a matter of fact, furniture has already been procured, ordered that is, to ensure that these schools can reopen in time. Now, there were a couple vacation camps. One was the regular music and pan. 213 students made use of the opportunity. 5 venues were used: the Buccaneers Pan Tent, the Scarborough Methodist School, Mason Hall Secondary School, Eastside, Pantent, and Roxborough Anglican Primary School. And of course, that was completed and they were all provided with their certificates last week. This year we saw for the first time a Young Innovators Camp, and this was organized and executed by a group of teachers, and I must commend them, led by Mr. Joseph Frederick. The camp, it is my understanding, was oversubscribed, and unfortunately some students weren't able to get in. So it means this is something we'll have to look to ensure that next year we expand the offerings. So the camp was conducted from the 16th of July and it will run until the 10th of August. So that is 2 days from today at 2 venues. The National Energy Skills Center at Goldsboro and the Tobago Technology Limited at Signal Hill. And the activities included circuit design and building, animation, robotics, games and application design, and of course that in a sense signaled the start of our emphasis on innovation thinking in our school system. So I'm hoping that in the not too distant future some of the games that they play would have been designed and manufactured, if you wish, right here in Tobago. So going forward, innovation clubs will be established in schools on a voluntary basis. An innovation committee will be established by October 2018 to drive innovation in both the primary and secondary schools. As you know, it is the Division of Education, Innovation and Energy, and the intention is that we shall move to establish the unit on innovation within the first quarter of the next financial year. There was an annual sports camp as well, and this was a joint initiative between the divisions of education and sport. And there were a number of areas. These areas included football, cricket, netball, basketball, athletics, tennis, swimming at Kendall, and table tennis and beach football were introduced for the first time. We also, during that period, had what we started last year, a holiday enrichment program, and this was designed for those students who scored under 30% at the C exam, but who were assigned to secondary schools. And the program was hosted at 3 venues: Bishop's High School, Roxborough Secondary, and Scarborough Secondary. On this occasion, in respect of the maths and reading aspects of the program, we made use of the instructional coaches to execute the program. Last year, we went basically with volunteer teachers. On this occasion, we made use of the resource that we would have procured, the instructional coaches, because they are better qualified. And of course, they would have been working with the teachers in the primary schools to upgrade the skills levels. But in addition to maths and reading, students were exposed to lighter activities, dance and drama, martial arts, journal writing, music, field trips, to name a few. And what was particularly interesting as I was debriefing some of the persons involved is the need for us to expose our children to the various sites and so on in Tobago. There were some of those students apparently never went to East Tobago. so that they were surprised when they were asked to name or list the villages as they were traversing the eastern side of the island. And indeed, some of the sites and so on they were unaware of. So I found that quite interesting. I know in my days we used to do field trips, and I'm sure in your days, which is not so long ago, they also did field trips. Now, as you know, I had hinted on the last occasion I spoke with you that an assessment of students from standards 1 to 3 was done. So it gave us, as it were, some level of understanding of their achievements. We propose in September to do another one, so that will form the basis for their planned programs of work in their respective classes. Because the simple fact of the matter is, this issue of numeracy and literacy, I am taking very, very, very seriously. And the division will do all that it is empowered to do with whatever resources it has available to it to give our students the best possible chance. And in that regard, I may say to you that the division proposes to introduce an accelerated learning program. And that is designed principally, we're going to start with standards 3 to 5. And it is to provide additional opportunities for those students who demonstrate the capacity and the capability to be accelerated. So that we would assess the students to determine those that have the potential for being exceptional. We shall ensure that there is sufficient orientation and collaboration with the key stakeholders in the system, which include, of course, parents. And it will be voluntary, so that in the early stages, no one will be compelled to participate, because it would require some flexibility on the part of parents, especially. We are hoping that some of the areas that we will introduce would involve critical thinking and problem solving. And you know that is an area that seems to be lacking. Journal and portfolio writing. Levels of analysis, because one of the weaknesses we found in respect of the assessment we did earlier in mathematics was that many of our students were operating at the level of comprehension, but not at the level of analysis. And that is a shortcoming, because in respect of what is referred to as the taxonomy of learning objectives, the higher order levels of thinking, we must teach those as well and prepare students for those, because that is the only way that at the end of the day you become problem solvers and you'll be in a position to apply knowledge learned to new and different situations. And we believe that over time our students will be better prepared in respect of some of these national exams. Now, as you know, in June we commissioned the Teachers Professional Center at Madden House, and during the period July and August there have been a number of programs being carried out there. In the early part of July we had sessions for the instructional coaches, and In the latter part, we started a sign language program or course, which is a certificate program of 30 credit hours facilitated by Costel. Now, what it means is that participants in this program at the end of the day would have a qualification by an institution that is accredited right here in Tobago. Those persons, 18 persons from Happy Haven and School for the Deaf, Language and Speech Impairment, are currently undergoing this program. The program is expected to end on the 14th of August, and these persons will graduate on the 23rd of August. UTT programs for Tobago. As I indicated on a previous occasion, I would have been in discussion with UTT to see to what extent some of their offerings can be extended to interested persons in Tobago. We are on the verge, and to some extent it depends on enrollment of offering from September a diploma in agriculture, a diploma in natural resource management, and a certificate program in food technology right here in Tobago for the first time. We are hoping that those students who would have recently graduated from the agricultural program would be, in the main, the students who would take up this offer from the farm school, that is. Now, we are hoping that in January 2019, we are putting in place the prerequisites that these additional courses will come on stream. Marine sciences, because as you know, we do have the Boko Reef, in addition to which there are reefs in the eastern part of Tobago. A course in tropical fisheries management, as well as a National Engineering Technician's Diploma in Civil Engineering. So we are hoping to have these courses introduced in Tobago. Now, in respect of those agricultural programs that I've identified, I'm making an appeal to persons who are interested in registering for these programs to submit their names to the Division of Education, Innovation and Energy. Now, one of the advances that we have made as well in respect of assisting our teachers is that we have a small group of teachers who currently are engaged in preparing model lesson plans based on the primary school's curriculum. These plans will be vetted by our curriculum officers at the Division of Education, and once approved or amended, will be placed on our website for use by teachers. So we are in fact providing some help for teachers in respect of the design of instruction in our schools, thereby making their lives easier. And the hope is that they will avail themselves of these additional resources in the attempt to ensure that our students are provided with the quality instruction that they deserve. An initiative that was started by the division, completely voluntary, and is expected to be an ongoing initiative, is what we call a community Teach a Child to Read initiative. It began on the 16th of July, and it started in a couple of communities throughout Tobago, and involved in that exercise would have been some police youth groups, individuals in communities, churches, etc., and other community organizations. The plan was that persons who were willing volunteered to, in informal situations, take perhaps 2, 3, 4, 5 children, as the case might be, and whether it is in their porch or below their house or anything like that, to assist these children in learning to read. It is a program that we would be continuing, and we're inviting all of Tobago to participate. It is part of assisting and developing our human resource, because reading maketh a ready man. And therefore, to the extent that we build a literate society, to that extent, Tobago would be better off. I don't think I have to remind you that there is a strong correlation, research has shown, between illiteracy and deviant behaviors. Now, the construction certification program that we started at Roxborough Trade Center in January 2018 will continue at the MIC Center in Canaan from September. So we will be having 2 centers, one in the east and one in the west. And the program, of course, we have begun in 4 industrial skills: masonry, carpentry, plumbing, and electrical. As you know, I take this opportunity to remind you that there were 30 participants enrolled in Roxborough, whilst we had spaces for 60. So I hope as time goes, our people are encouraged to participate. I think I had called on you on the previous occasion to encourage your brothers, your sisters, your nephews, your nieces, your uncles, and so on, to be part of the program. So in June, half of those persons, either 14 or 15, I think, had completed level 1 certification with the National Examination Council. And the other 15 we expect will complete in September 2018. And of course, I had indicated that level 1 means that you can work with supervision. But those persons will be encouraged to go on to level 2, which means that they can work independently. And I don't have to emphasize the need for skilled workmen, skilled labor, in the not too distant future, because there are a series of development projects that have been planned, and labor would be required, and it would be a travesty if we can't provide skilled labor here for those projects that we are constructing here. So again, application forms are available from the division, and the deadline for application is August 30th, 2018, and this is for the program that we'll be starting, or the phase of the program that we'll be starting in West. So again, I'm asking the press to assist us in ensuring that the message gets out there to our people that we are working for them. Now, one of the more fundamental issues that we have to treat with, and we shall so do in a very structured and systematic way, is the continuous improvement in our student performances. And what we propose to do, is to engage in some definite and specific target setting with all stakeholders to facilitate improving or the improvement of the performance of our students. Now, you may know that all schools are expected to provide school development plans, both primary and secondary schools. We intend to ensure that these plans are reviewed by the appropriate personnel at the Division of Education, and that specific action steps and targets will be identified and structured in respect of the various terms. Now, the thing is that these school improvement plans have become almost rote documents, ROT. But we are saying the time has come when they must be the basic documents utilized in planning for and executing those plans for the continuous development of the school. So that at the division level, we will ensure that those plans that come in, and most have come in, will be reviewed and appropriate action taken. At the level of the school supervision, because each school supervisor is targeted with a number of schools or a cluster of schools, they will be held responsible and accountable for the performance of those schools in respect of ensuring that those schools have their targets and that they engage in the required levels of supervision to facilitate the achievement of those targets. So as part of that exercise as well, it is expected that supervisors will work with principals where necessary to assist in respect of the design and the implementation. Now, as you're aware, we would have brought on stream to the end of the last financial year a curriculum unit, so that curriculum officers would be expected as well to be involved in these processes. And similarly, it will be drilled down, so then one expects at the end of the day principals who have responsibility to manage their premises and their plant and their personnel would, on the basis of their submitted plans, take the necessary steps to ensure that they can attest to results at the end of the school year. And at the secondary level, where you have heads of departments as well, you also have some heads of departments in some primary schools and senior teachers as well. So they are expected to drive the delivery of the curriculum in their respective departments. And as a result of that, to the extent that there are weaknesses in the delivery of the curriculum in their departments, they would be expected to strengthen those departments. You may be aware that last week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we held a planning session at the Montervin Bay Hotel. On Thursday and Friday of last week, divisions had to do their presentations, which reflected, among other things, their intended deliverables for the next fiscal year.
Thank you for staying with us for the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing